So my dad, he'll like, oh, they didn't put.
Oh my god!
I got this for,
Staying alive.
but I should have grabbed it. I figure.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
There you
see
go.
what I'm talking about? Like it was funny one day. I was talking to my brother and I said, "Hey, that's a Vulcan," and my dad is like, "No, that's a Romulan," you know. And he corrects me about like Star Trek species. It was like my dad. He actually is a lot more of a nerd than he'll ever let on. Anyways, yeah. So we watched all the Twilight movies and the Hunger Game movies, and so when I watched Vampire Diaries, I thought, the first episode, I was like, they're just copying, because it has that vampire who's really old, and he's trying to get into the high school because, from what I understood, correct me if I'm wrong, he fell in love with Elena.
Yeah.
And because she was the reincarnation of his former wife.
No.
Or former lover.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they weren't married before.
No.
And then she was reincarnated, right?
Yeah. No.
No?
Well,
You'll find
can't
out.
tell you.
We can't tell you.
Why not?
Because you have to tell it. It's like a big
I
reveal.
don't care.
Yeah, sure.
I want to know now. I don't care about
You're not
suspense. I
doing
just want to
this.
know.
No.
I want to look it up.
Oh, nice.
So anyways, I was immediately pulled out of the movie when she was writing in her diary at the cemetery, leaning up against a tomb, and then it got really, really foggy. I was like, oh my god. It's just so stereotypical horror writing,
Yeah.
With like no creativity whatsoever.
Well, it's funny. It's
Is
comedy.
it? It gets
yeah.
Is it comedy?
Yeah.
It's
I
really
totally did not know that.
No.
It wasn't funny at all.
No, it's a drama, but it
It's a
gets
drama.
funny.
It's a
The
drama,
first
but it's
episode's dry, and so I was watching it.
We were gonna
because
stop watching it, but
Our friend Rocky,
yeah.
she forced us into it. And so like I
Rocky,
think
yeah,
very
she
polite,
got us
so like
into it.
fine, and then she's like, just wait till the ending. And I'm like, why is it waiting till the ending? She's just wait. And I'm like, okay, fine. And I'm like, my God, I'm gonna stop watching this. And then Damon came in, and everybody's
We're
like,
like,
oh yeah. We watched the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're watching the Haunting of the Hill House right now,
Yeah.
and so
Gotta say,
We're
it's
starting to like
actually
it.
getting
It's
better.
really good. Now we
We
figured out
said
what
the
the gloves
first
are
time
for.
we didn't like it. Well, we weren't sure about it, but we think it's really good.
No, it's good, but still, the dad was a little confusing why they played
Yeah,
different changed
exactly.
them. Where
Yeah,
the guy with glasses,
Like
but
the
maybe
first
he
guy
has
is already old.
Well, we just watched his story, but they never explained why
Ooh.
he no longer wears glasses. So that's my confusion.
well, we were getting into the story of the other twin that died.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, now like,
Spoiler.
well, we're always putting spoilers on there, right?
That's
But then it was getting too late, and we all had to go to bed, and so
So we had day
yeah.
jobs.
But I was really excited to see how that played out.
Yeah.
But
Watch that later, probably.
It makes you anticipate, and they always end
Well,
up
I feel
cliffhanger.
bad though because I like that girl because she's the only one in the family that everybody gets along with, and then she dies.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, and okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. My favorite character so far is the bowling cap ghost.
You say
Great.
that about every
Great
horror,
character.
like almost
What?
every horror,
Bowling
every
cat.
scary
Oh,
movie
okay.
we watch. He's like, I'm rooting for a ghost.
Yeah, because the characters are like doing stuff to kill themselves. They have no self-preservation skills whatsoever. So it's like, might as well root for the guy who's gonna win. Yeah. So,
Switches
but I don't
directions.
think that the bowling cap guy is malicious.
Well, I don't
Yeah, well,
understand
because
why he
when they
turned to
show
his mom.
Yeah, that's what I couldn't get. It's like when he turned around and finally he faced them. All of a sudden it was his mom and he was gone. It's like where he was trying to face them.
But okay, what about the part where he was under the bed, right? And he made that, which
Oh,
I
love that
admitted
part.
when we were watching it, I was like, that kid held his gasp in for that long. If I were that little kid, I would be like, oh my god, this guy's in my room. What the fuck, Because I literally, when I was growing up, I played my brother's Sony PlayStation with Resident Evil when it first came out. That game scared me to death. And so I went down in a panic downstairs to my dad, and I said, Dad, I'm pretty sure there's zombies in my room. And he's like, well, if there are, I'll just beat them up, okay? And I was like, okay. So I went back to bed. So I know that if I were that kid, I would be like, what the fuck is this guy
he
doing?
probably is, and he's like, I don't know. I've been in those situations, so I'm like, part of me would think, the smart part of me now is like, just pass out, or like, hold it in. Doesn't matter if you pass out, you'll breathe again.
Do you think that's what he did when it lifted up the blankets and like looked under there?
Probably passed out.
Maybe
Yeah.
passed
Yeah,
out.
because
yeah.
I was like, and I said when that happened, I was like, come on, I want to see what happened. Did he
Did he get near him?
Did he talk to him? Because like, it would be so cool if he was like, hey little kid, what are you doing down there? You know? I would have liked that if they would have had like a dialogue. Because that's the whole thing about why I really, really liked Frankenstein, was that the little girl, you have to be taught to be prejudiced, right?
Yeah.
And that was the whole point of the book Frankenstein, was that the little girl wasn't taught to be prejudiced, or it was too early for her to learn prejudice from the society around them.
Yeah.
The society, all the adults were very prejudiced, and they judged the monster by his outward appearance. The little girl saw that he had a pure heart and he was wanting to just learn and be around people and stuff. Yeah. And anyways, that would have been really cool. I know they would never have done that in this series, but it would have been cool because he didn't look like he was gonna attack him. He just looked like he was lifting up the thing and being like, hey.
Well, the fact that he's following him and he's fucking scared. Okay, so there's something fucked up with this dude. But, and also, why is he so fucking tall? Yeah, he's, I don't know.
Very freakishly tall.
Yes, he's very freakishly tall.
But not when he sees him out on the street when he's an adult, though.
Oh,
You know, he's normal height. And then when he turned around, it wasn't even the guy that he saw when he was under the bed.
No, but after he was kind of tall, he was still crouching. So they could
But, like, remember when he was a little kid? Like, the bowling cap ghost guy, he was really tall.
But he's floating, though.
He was floating,
why
but
was
only
he
this much
floating?
off the ground.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then, like, he was way taller than the thresholds of the doors.
Yeah, he would
And then, like, when he was checking the different rooms for his hat, he would, like, have to bend down a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And, okay, when he was an adult and he, like, escaped from the rehab stuff and was out in the street and he saw him looking the opposite direction, relative to other things on the street, he was tall, but he wasn't, like, freakishly tall.
Yeah.
You know? And then when he turned around, it wasn't even the same face as the guy that looked at him when he was under the bed.
Yeah.
So, it was... I don't think...
Like, what's haunting him?
The image of the broken neck
No,
lady, right?
Oh, no, the broken neck lady is
that's
his
his
twin. That's his twin.
Okay.
He's the bowling hat guy. He gets haunted by that.
But, yeah, but then when he was on the street, right, and he saw the
That was
bowling.
his mom.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that the bowling cap guy that's been haunting him, right? I don't think he's malicious. He doesn't seem malicious.
He doesn't.
Yeah, he seems like, hey, little kid, you know.
Exactly.
But yeah, so that's why I was really curious about that, and I thought that's a really interesting thing to play out.
Mm-hmm.
But with this episode that we already started but we didn't finish, I'm like, really want to see how the girl dies because
Yeah.
her sister, who touched her,
Yeah.
and then she freaked out in the morgue,
Yeah.
and they didn't even show us.
Oh, yeah.
Which they're kind of painting themselves into a little bit of a corner because now they have to make it really super epic.
Uh-huh.
However she died, right?
It might be epic.
It might be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We don't know yet.
Yeah, maybe they'll just kind of not let. If they don't pay off on the way that she dies, then I'm gonna be like, oh, bad form, you know?
Yeah, because that was way too much build up to have
Right.
like a simple death.
Yeah, and she like totally freaked out, and she had seen a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she,
Oh, yeah.
but she was like breaking down.
But she freaked out too because that's her sister.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It might seem has to die.
I
But
don't know.
her
It's
brother
gonna be-
was saying something that she was murdered.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's like a violent murder. It could be
Yeah.
just like I don't know.
Yeah.
They have to
Yeah,
build it.
just
They have to
simple
find
manslaughter.
some
Who
way
knows?
how to build it up.
Yeah. I mean, manslaughter isn't necessarily murder, right? I don't know. We'll see what happens because, I don't know. It seems like, one thing is for sure, it's a lot more interesting than Vampire Diaries.
Oh, you haven't
You,
gone
you only watched one episode. You have
Yeah,
not
okay,
even
but I
gotten...
meant later, like later
gotta
seasons.
watch
I don't know.
later,
It's
little,
hilarious.
like,
I feel like
what the fuck are you
it's
doing?
not
But then
nearly
it
as
gets back
enjoyable watching it by myself either. I would rather watch it with you guys, but it's because I'm like, oh my God, I don't care. You know?
Yeah.
Like, but the, I liked vampire movies like the Keanu Reeves Dracula, Interview with the Vampire, with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
There's also The Vampire's Assistant, which is a funny one. That one's okay. I don't know, it's pretty corny.
What?
Vampire's Assistant with John C. Reilly.
I have no idea who that person is.
We haven't watched like any of the 3 movies you just listed.
Okay. Anyways, I like the vampire genre. In fact,
Did you like Vampire Diaries? It was really good.
well, I'm trying to give it a chance, but also it's just a lot more fun to watch it with you guys, like I said,
Yeah.
Yeah.
instead of just by myself, just being like, oh god, you know, because I really like the idea of vampires because, and this is the reason why I really like Dracula is that he's pure evil.
Yeah.
But he always has a long-term plan. That is
Yeah.
that is really complicated, like so needlessly complicated.
Uh-huh.
And like with other Halloween time monsters, it's just really straightforward. They just want to eat people, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with Dracula, it's so complicated, and he messes with people, and he's also constantly fighting off his temptations, where he wants to eat Keanu Reeves, but he's like, no, got the long-term plan, you know.
Yeah.
And then like he just does things in the creepiest way possible, like when he attacks that boat that is going from Denmark into London. You know, it's like he does it in the most scary, sinister way possible. And
So it's predatorial.
he's like that's a really good way to put it because he's like an animal, but he's also very intelligent, very old, and very wise. You know.
Yeah.
And I love also the cultural relevance of it is that the concept of a vampire was built out of the history of Europe. And I really love that part of it. Where the actual Dracula was, he was in a coma from being hit on the head by a mace. And, yeah. And so they were back at his castle ready to bury him in the sarcophagus. And he woke up from his coma while they were praying over him.
Yeah.
And the priest was like, oh shit, and he stabbed him in the heart with his crucifix. And that's where like the story of you gotta use a wooden stake to kill a vampire.
Yeah.
And also they're scared of crucifixes and stuff like that. That's where it came from. And it was just like, oh no, the zombie, you know?
Yeah.
But
Priest murdered.
yeah. And so the legend kind of grew from there, but where it got popularized in popular culture was back in, I think it was the late 1700s or
I think
early
that's about, yeah.
1800s. There was a publication in the London newspaper called Le Vampire that was originally written in Paris, but originally published in London, I think, about a vampire that lived amongst people. I might be getting some details wrong, but it was really sinister to put in the newspaper that everybody in London was reading.
Yeah.
Because then they're like reading it and being like, oh shit. Like, there were the people on this bus. A vampire, you know?
Yeah.
And so I thought that was a really cool introduction to the character. And it wasn't Dracula that was in Le Vampire, right? It was just an indescript vampire that just blended in with society. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, they do that with Vampire Diaries.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You just have
You
to
have to watch it. You can watch
It gets
Twilight,
better.
you can watch this.
I watched it with my dad.
You can watch Twilight. You
Yeah,
can watch
it's
this.
really good.
I just lose interest when I'm watching it by myself because
Yeah.
it's like I'm always thinking of other things I could be doing right then, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll
Well,
see.
One last note before we turn it off because 15 minutes. But I like
Thank you
about
for
Twilight.
subscribing.
Oh yes, thank
By
you.
the way.
for subscribing.
Also, we have Patreon. Go ahead and support us so that we can get our books done
Yeah.
quicker. I'm gonna finish mine before they finish theirs. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
It's
sure.
not gonna happen.
Even though I have 3 times the work and 1/3 the workforce.
Hey,
Sure,
ours is way
too
longer.
complicated.
Anyways, so go ahead and support us on Patreon. That would
Yeah.
be really super cool. And I'd be your fan. Anyways, go ahead.
I was saying what I liked about Twilight, the last one. We went into the theater. There was this man that took
Oh
himself,
yeah.
And he was just sitting there, and then so, you know, the part where they're like in the final battle.
The
and it
father
turned out
gets
to be-
his head chopped off.
Nice.
Yeah, and so
I
the
like
guy
that
goes, "Oh fuck no!" In the whole theater, he starts yelling, "No, they can't kill him!" And everyone turns, and these teenagers that are like sitting near him are looking at this guy like, "Who the
We
heck
thought
are
it
you?"
was his kids,
Yeah.
and then it turns
Well,
out
not-
he
he
walked
just
up
a
by
fan.
himself at the end.
He's a
He
fan.
went in, yeah. So then he went to his
It's
school.
cool.
That's
Right?
funny.
Yeah. So when they found out it was all in her head, he got up and went,
Started
yeah,
clapping.
and
And
he
like,
starts
everyone
cheering
started
and he starts whooping, and then everybody gets up and we're like. He made the whole theater start clapping for it. He started this whole thing,
Well,
and he
so-
sat down like all pleased.
Everybody was witnessing this emotional roller coaster that he was on.
Yeah, it was cool.
They
Yeah.
all started clapping and started cheering, and we're like, damn. And then he
Yeah.
walked off by himself like nothing just happened.
It was like it when
No, he like nodded at the screen at the end credit. He
Oh, did
like
he?
literally watched the whole thing and he goes like this, and then he takes off his popcorn eating
That's
all by
cool.
himself.
Oh, they're so
Didn't
cute.
even regard the rest of the crowd like looking at him and cheering him on.
No.
That's awesome. It's like when I went with my brother to go watch Rogue One, and the last scene on Rogue One was so awesome. It was epic. Where Darth Vader's like going through the ship and just like, you know, and I remember watching that with my brother, and I looked over at him, and he looked over at me at the same time, and we're like, you know, and then you look at everybody else in the theater, and everybody just like, oh my god, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, and everybody cheered for that scene, you know, and then when in contrast to episode 3 of you know the 9-part series.
Yeah.
Where Darth Vader gets up and goes, no! And I was like, oh shit, this is horrible. And so I stood up and I was going to walk out, but it was already the end of the movie, so I wasn't making any kind of statement. Yeah. Anyways, remind me of that.
Yeah, it goes back to Star Wars and Star Trek.
I can't
Always
help
with
it, 'cause
him.
like I said, everything comes back to that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I don't think in this version, in this take, I've explained yet how important.
Every take we take it.
Every
We're on like take 10 or
Star
whatever.
Wars.
Yeah, we got gassed out
It's
like 3
important
times
because
like
I had
dog.
to explain to them,
It's so heated.
and apparently Thais twice. Anyways, thank you for liking and
Thank you.
subscribing
Yeah.
and giving us support on Patreon
Yes.
and also
On Instagram.
on Instagram. And when our books come out, we'll have to do something special on Patreon. We'll figure out something.
Yep.
I don't know. After all, that is the name of the show, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll
Chris has
figure
figured it out.
Yeah. But when the books come
Slightly
out,
over 5 seconds.
we'll definitely let you know, and I think you guys will be really happy with their 2-part. Well, it'll go on with more editions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah. You're all neither confirmed or denied.
Regardless, there will be more books.
And his sci-fi.
Yeah, and then I am in the middle of. I just finished the chapter 8, and I'm really happy with how it's going so far, and I think that you guys are going to be really happy with it too, because it is. I would only write a novel if I thought I could write something unique and original.
Yep.
And so-
I believe it is.
Yeah. Yeah, they know because they know all the whole.
Yeah. He does not know what happened in
I
the
can't
sequel.
contain spoilers.
He can't
No,
at all.
So if you ever want to know how my book ends, just ask me.
That's that easy.
Yeah.
So true.
All right. See you later.
Bye.